back. Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is my first long form video, being back, I guess. As you can tell by the title, we were watching some True Story scary animations. Also, sorry that the camera quality is really blurry or if there's black lines everywhere. It'll definitely be fixed in the next video, though. But today, we are watching True Story scary animations by Juan C. Entertainment. Wanted to give him a shout out and definitely go check out his channel. And since I am a 5-year-old, I have myself here a blanket. Keep us warm during these scary times. I'm also watching this at night. Don't watch it at night. I'm kidding. If you can watch it at night. I'm not your dad, so I can't tell you what to do. We're gonna watch about 3 animations. Go ahead and get into the video. Alrighty, guys, we got our first story here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. A mysterious man is standing outside and trying to enter my house.
My name is Pascal.
Not an English
I'm 22
name.
years old now, but this event happened 3 years ago when I was 19.
Okay.
It happened in the middle of the night.
That dad
My
looks
parents
amazing.
were away for an important company meeting.
No homo.
The company
no homo,
was
I swear.
kind of far away from where we lived, so I stayed home by myself while they were gone. One time, while I was
Looks
at home
like a
alone,
girl.
I looked out the window randomly and froze.
What that? No.
There was a
God.
tall man, almost dressed entirely in black.
He said
was
all black,
wearing
but
a
that
tuxedo
suit jacket
and holding a
looks
super
brown.
knife. This guy was standing right outside of the door, looking at me.
Oh no, the scary music.
He wasn't laughing at all, and his head was twitching continuously. Sir, please get off our property. Otherwise, I'll call the police.
You never
I
talked to the
opened the
demon.
window and told him. Then
Or
the
the
man
random
replied,
person.
"Oh, you can do that if you want, as long as you don't look away."
No
Because
ads.
of this strange attitude, I felt anxious. So I grabbed my cell phone and called the police. But when I looked out
Bro,
the
who
window
moves
again,
like that?
he was gone.
Uh-oh.
At that very moment, I heard footsteps coming from downstairs. I
Oh.
suddenly remembered
Oh, no.
that I forgot to lock my garden door.
How do you forget
So
to lock
it
your
was
garden
still
door,
open.
bro? Honestly.
I thought I was gonna die at first. But then I pulled myself together. I got my bat and looked down the stairs, slowly, trying not to make a sound. There he was.
Oh, yeah.
Was
Got some
just
nice shoes,
staring
though.
at me. He didn't move, but said, "I told you not to look away."
We're gonna talk
A
about
few
that
moments
awful
later, we
haircut,
heard
by the way.
sirens. The man still did not move. But then he suddenly changed his mind and walked over to me. I tried to swing my bat towards him, but I was so scared. I couldn't do anything except scream. The police broke down the door. One policeman tried to arrest him, and the other one tried to take the knife away from him, but the man resisted. He was strong. Even though he was outnumbered, they couldn't stop him. They threatened to shoot him in the foot, but he didn't care.
Holds a knife like that.
Furthermore, he attacked the 2 policemen, and they tumbled down to the ground. I ran to one of the rooms and slammed the door shut, but he kicked in the door.
Oh my god.
When the door opened, I could see his face, and I will never, ever forget that moment.
I'm actually getting emotional.
However,
Whoa.
at that very moment, the police caught up to him and shot his foot.
They weren't kidding
The guy
about
started
shooting him in the
screaming
foot.
in pain. Shortly after that, he managed to jump outside of a window and disappeared. The policemen chased after him, but unfortunately, they failed to arrest him.
Aw,
I never saw that guy again.
that's good.
I'm glad that I survived that incident, but I also feel nervous that he'll come to my house again. From that day on, I always made sure I locked all the doors and windows.
Oh, yes. That was actually, like, I wasn't scared per se, but I got goosebumps. It was weird. I don't get scared easily, but like these videos really do kind of get me scared. On a scale of from 1 to 10, 1 being the one that's scary and 10 being, oh my gosh, I'm going to jump out of a window because I'm so scared. Just kind of like that guy jumped out the window. I'd say for me, that was about maybe a 6. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and go on to the next True Story scary animation. Got the next animation in 3, 2, 1. I made the creepiest friend at the oh no, not a deep web story. Oh lord.
When I was a teenager, I would often
You don't sound
explore
like a
the deep web
teenager.
with my friends, specifically weird stuff on Hidden Wiki.
Bro.
There were definitely a lot of links to choose from. I never clicked on the violent links because I'm not into that. My friend Latrice told me to click on one that says new best friend. After doing so, it takes you to a page where you have to make a profile. I put the name Lisa on my profile. My real name is Susan. Once I made the profile, you are directed to a main page that has categories.
This guy really doesn't sound like a
They
girl.
were silly, serious, smart, and smothering. We clicked smothering. I thought it was funny. After choosing, there was a list of people with their pictures, male and female. I clicked on the profile of a guy that had the name 5, like the number 5. I entered, and it didn't seem like someone who would be a smothering friend. When I was searching through his profile, I received a message from him asking if I were looking for a friend. I looked at Latrice, and she laughed, but also told me to respond yes. So we're messaging back and forth for maybe 30 minutes, and then Latrice had to go. I told him I'll be back on tomorrow, and he said okay. Maybe a week went by where I would talk to him every night. He seemed very nice, so we exchanged numbers so we could talk more.
You seem a little too chipper.
Everything seemed fine until I clicked on another profile and someone else messaged me. I started talking with this other person, but still was texting the guy 5, which I knew his real name now as William. The new guy had the name Bill on his profile. A day went by, and he seemed cool, but then William randomly asked me why I was talking with Bill. I didn't know what to say, so I never responded. He kept texting with angry messages, so I blocked him. I didn't receive any texts.
She said text
only a
messages,
single
but that was
message
an email
on
icon.
that site, and it said soon. One day after school, my friend Latrice came over to have a sleepover. We got comfortable, went to my room, and did our usual of surfing through the web, being nosy.
She's kind of like me. She's got a couch.
I brought up that guy. Then I received a text message that said, "Why'd you block me?" from a random number. I replied with a question mark. Then it replied, "It's me, William."
Oh, God.
He texted me from another number after I blocked him.
Never screw
I told
around
Latrice
on
how
the deep
creepy
web
this
or
guy
the dark
is.
web, whatever
Then
it's
Latrice
called.
stopped me from talking because she thought she heard something. Then I heard a voice. "I'm not that creepy."
Oh.
We both responded by screaming and looking around. I saw someone coming from under my bed, so we ran screaming out of my room, and my mother called the cops. They didn't get him because he left through my window,
Did that
and
cop
nothing
have
could
no
be
eyes?
traced back to him. I'm starting to think that he was both of the people I was talking to. That definitely opened my eyes to the dangers of the internet. I would never visit the dark web again.
Oh my. All right, guys. How did you like that one? That one at the end, towards the end, where that was that huge jump scare and he started to crawl out of underneath her bed like a spider. That's kind of what got me. I'd say it wasn't as scary as the last one. I'd give it maybe a 5.5. Let's go ahead and do, let's go ahead and get into the third true story, animated. Woman, all right, this third story. Woman in the purple dress. Oh, no.
A few years ago, me and my family went on our
What
yearly
is- no
holiday
one
to
sleeps like
Madeira,
that.
which is the birthplace of my parents. It was pretty normal for us to go annually, as our
It's like
grandparents were
all
living
these
there.
animations are different
We
animation
would sleep in
styles.
one of our grandparents' home, and during the day, we would go to festivals.
Bro, what?
If you do not
These
know
people look
much
like
about
flower
Madeira,
people.
then this story will probably give you a better idea. It's not that a
Are we gonna talk
physical
about
thing
the-
occurred that
I
holiday.
think I just did. I
It was
think I just saw
this
like someone
nightmare
behind like
that
the cat.
became very real for me as a child. As I said before, I was staying at my grandparents' house while in
We're gonna
Madeira.
talk about the fact that that looks like a
I had a
straw
room
roof.
to myself on the upper floor.
What the
It was
world?
pretty creepy since my grandmother loved Victorian-style dolls.
Oh, like
Once
Victoria-
I was
my
able to fall
great-grandmother
asleep,
Had a lot of those.
I had a
really
creepy dream that I can't forget. I woke up, and from my bed, I could hear movement on the floor. I looked down to see that the floor was covered in black insects, just crawling around. I could not
Some
see
chunky
the
feet.
almond brown wood floorboards and began to yell for help.
What
Someone
the s-
opened my door, and I saw my little brother come in, but behind him was a woman in a hideous purple dress.
Oh my god.
I never saw this woman before, but before my brother even came closer to me, I saw the woman force her hand into his back and tear out his heart.
What?
I remember screaming in the dream, and all the woman said was, "Your parents aren't here." And I woke up. I was so scared that I went into the next room where my brother should have been asleep. But because it was dark, I couldn't see him. Well, I was a dumb kid. My anxiety level rose even
My
higher.
anxiety level.
I ran
Whoa.
out, went downstairs, and none of my parents were around. I started to panic more because of what that lady in my dream said, and I started to cry even more.
Got circular hands.
Then I heard my older brother call my name from up the stairs. The stairs I just ran down. I told him I had a bad dream, and he stayed in my room.
Bro,
After showing me that my little brother was snoring away in his bed. The next morning, my brother told my parents how I behaved, so my mother asked me what happened. I told her about the dream with the lady in the hideous purple dress. My mother's face became serious,
don't tell me she
and
was
she
having the
looked
same dream since
worried.
she was a kid.
I didn't know why, since that was unusual for her. About 2 years later, I was going through my parents' wedding album in our home in Madeira.
Why are they
While
wearing
I was
masks?
sorting out the top floor of the house with my younger brother, I noticed that one of the pictures was ripped in half. I thought it was unusual,
It is
so I
weird.
began looking through to see where the other half
Bro,
was. It wasn't in the album. I brushed it off. About an hour later, I was going through one of the drawers in the living room cabinet. I saw this picture of a woman in a
It's the same
purple
lady.
dress. She looked almost identical to the woman in my dream. It was the same dress. I began to get goosebumps, so I put the album on top of a table and opened it to the page with the teared up picture. I began to shiver once the tear of both pictures fit perfectly
my
well
God.
together. With worry, I began to ask my mother who was in the image.
Ask your mom.
All I know to this day is that she is perceived as a witch and fled with my maternal uncle from Madeira. Soon after, the whole community began to believe it. This is possibly all just a coincidence, but it does send a shiver down my spine. I've never met this woman, but she appeared in my dreams. I have no idea on whether or not
Some
I will
long
forget the
fingers.
specific details of that dream, especially since I found out more about this woman, who is my aunt-in-law.
Oh gosh. Pizza? Who holds a pizza like that? Oh my gosh, guys. That one really got me. I'm giving that one a 9 on the scary scale. But that video really got me, especially when that lady first showed up in that doorway with that little kid. We got 2 more left. Comment down below what that one was for you. But let's go ahead and get on to the 4th true horror story. Animated. Alright, what's this next? True horror story about the man from the bus stop. Ooh.
This happened to me when I was 17 years old.
Okay.
I live in Canada,
She look
and
cute.
this situation took place during a snowstorm at around 9 p.m. It was
You
extremely
look a
dark
little
outside,
underdressed to be in a
and I was
snowstorm.
waiting inside a bus stop shelter after my part-time job to get home. Although I live in a crowded city in Toronto, it was very quiet that night, and there were barely any cars on the road due to hazardous weather conditions.
About to say.
I was waiting all by myself for about 10 minutes until one man who looked like he was in his 50s entered the shelter. He had a disgusting smirk on his face,
Ugh.
which made him a bit creepy looking. And that pretty large guy started making small talk with me. He had a creepy low voice, and he kept asking me what I was doing out in
His
this
eyes look a
weather
little
and
weird.
where I was going.
Looks a little insane.
I was feeling anxious, but there was only me and that man, so I told him I was going home after work. He smiled and said to me that the buses are going to be delayed because of the weather and won't be coming in for a really long time.
He's probably right
I
about
took
that.
out my phone to check the bus times. However, due to the deadly cold weather, my phone died completely.
How does that
Then he
make any
came
sense?
closer to me. He smelled awfully disgusting.
He's probably homeless.
Hey, you want to come with me for 5 minutes? He said.
Bro's bony hand.
I said, I'm sorry, sir. What do you mean? He said, let's go hang out for a bit. Don't worry, you won't miss your bus. I will bring you back safely. Come on. I wasn't stupid and was aware of pedophiles, so I stepped back and refused. But he kept insisting that I should go with him. I was so afraid that he would do
Don't go with
something
him.
bad to me. However, luckily, one lady came into the shelter, and the man immediately closed his mouth. After waiting
Thank God.
for some time, the bus finally arrived. It was me, the lady, that creepy man, and 2 other people on the bus. He sat all the way at the back of the bus where he could watch me clearly, and I noticed
I used to
that
sit
he
at the back
kept
of the bus because
staring
it's, like,
and
elevated.
staring. I was so nervous, and when it was my stop, I got off along with the lady. And as I kept walking,
Oh my gosh.
I saw that the man got off with us and was right behind me. I freaked out and thought there was no choice at all, so I grabbed the lady's arm and asked her if she could walk me home because a man was following me. She also noticed that the guy was acting strangely, so she whispered that she would take me home. I walked
Good
with the
Samaritan.
lady, and when I looked back, he stared at me for a while and disappeared. When I arrived home, my parents and I thanked that lady repeatedly, and after that, I never saw him again in my life.
All right, guys, that was good. That was really good. I'd give that story a solid 7. It was a solid 7. No, that's a lie. That's a 5. Solid 5. But let's go ahead and get on to story number 5. Here, I'll prove it to you. It is currently 10:59 p.m., but let's go ahead and get on to the 5th story. All right, guys, this is the last story of the night. The Secret Basement in the Hospital by Creep Sauce. I don't even know that. Oh, yeah, we got the scary music.
I work as a nurse in a hospital, although I can't reveal exactly where because of privacy reasons.
Facts.
Recently, a fairly popular celebrity came to be treated here,
We had
although
that.
I can't reveal who due to the aforementioned privacy reasons. Honestly, I was pretty surprised he was coming here. Not to shit talk my place of employment, but this place has a bit of a record of being really bad in caring for people. Not that I'm a
That's
bad
not a
nurse
good
or
thing to
anything, it's
disclose
just
at a
that a lot
hospital.
of the surgeons seem to fuck up their job and not get fired for some reason. This made it all the more confusing to me that this celebrity came
Nice
here for
accent.
surgery to remove a late-stage brain tumor. Speaking of, my friend Patricia was a huge fan and really wanted to be the one assigned to him post-surgery. She was even thinking of asking him for an autograph, which seemed unprofessional to me. Anyway, he was flying in for treatment tomorrow, but my current job was to assist a surgeon with the surgery of a little boy who swallowed a bunch of his toy marbles. I was surprised they decided to opt for surgery though, because they were previously recommended to wait for him to pass them. It was me, the anesthesiologist, and the surgeon in the room. I was staying nearby to the site of the surgery, and everything seemed to be going well. Then, the surgeon slipped and cut the kid's stomach lining open. It was horrific. The smell of stomach acid almost made me vomit as it began to dissolve his intestines. Despite our best efforts, he was dead within 10 minutes.
Oh no.
What disturbed me was how unfazed the surgeon was. After we failed to save him, the surgeon left to break the news to the parents almost immediately after. I thought I heard the anesthesiologist mumble something under her breath, but I couldn't understand clearly. It was something about food. My shift was over though, and I walked to the subway to grab some dinner
don't
then
sound
caught
like
the
a
bus
girl.
home.
I like that
I was
one
pretty
story.
tired, so I watched some Netflix in bed until I fell asleep. That night I had a dream, or more accurately, a nightmare. I was in the hospital, and that kid was there in front of me. Only his whole body was hollow and his chest cavity was open and bloody. His eyes were gone too, but still, he stared at me, and the entire time he pointed straight down. I finally woke up, and
What's
with
he
relief
pointing
from
at?
being free of that dream and more guilt from the failed surgery, I started my day. I got to work and Patricia was fairly bubbly. She spent almost the whole morning talking my ear off about the celebrity. When he finally came in, she started freaking out and tried to walk up and talk to him. His bodyguards pushed her away though, and she returned to her duties
Fair.
dejectedly. Just before
I
my
just
lunch
talked
break,
like
I
that
was
and I
called
like
into
that
my
guy's
supervisor's office. He said he had something very important for me to do, and that it needed to be done ASAP. He told me to go to the transplant center and get 10 hearts, then go to the basement. I was pretty confused and wanted to ask some questions, but he cut me off and yelled,
Either you can do this shit right now, or you can walk out and kiss your job goodbye.
I was pretty pissed. He would fire
Kinda
me daring to
Australian
ask a
accent was
question,
that.
but the management would avoid firing the incompetent surgeons even though they should. I left in a huff to go collect the organs and found them waiting in a case there already, with a note signed by the doctor that gave me access to a restricted room in the basement simply called Room 60. I didn't have the slightest clue what was in there, and marched onwards to the elevator and went down to the basement. I walked to Room 60 and showed the security guard my note. He looked me over and said, "Oh, This is your first time doing this, huh? I feel sorry for you. Try not to panic if you know what's good for you. He then unlocked the door, and I
Bet you it's the
stepped in.
morgue.
Immediately I was hit with a smell I would describe as rotten eggs, pennies, and a corpse. The ground was slick with something, and it was dark in there too, with only one dim overhead light. The room was pretty big, and in the middle I saw some nondescript blob. Then I heard what sounded like a deep breath in, and the blob started moving. The thing, which I now started to realise was a body, was walking towards me with stumpy, fat legs. I screamed and tried to run away, but I slipped on the ground. As my face got smeared in it, I realised the stuff on the floor was blood, and as I turned onto my back, I was face to face with the thing. It looked like a very pale, morbidly obese man, although it was much taller and much fatter than any human could be. It had large curled horns, as well as
It's
no
the devil.
mouth. Instead, where its mouth should be, there was just a row of pitch black, pointy, needle-like teeth surrounding a hole. It paid me no heed and reached out to pick up the box of organs. It opened the box and ate all the hearts in handfuls, stuffing 3 at a time in its mouth. I was terrified and ran out the door, slamming it shut behind me. The security guard looked me in the eyes and put a reaffirming hand on my shoulder. It looked like he wanted to say something but couldn't. He told me that he would walk me out of the building and that I could have the rest of the day off. Now I'm at home,
I'd quit,
still shaking
honestly.
and typing this up. I got a text from Patricia, and apparently the celebrity's surgery was a massive success. I'm wondering what I even do now. Is this the type of thing I can report? Would anyone believe me?
Alright guys, that was the last animation for tonight. I'm gonna probably do one of these videos once a week, because I really do like doing it. The video was pretty, not scary, but still pretty scary. I'd give that a solid 6.5, 6.5. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, smash the like button so that way I know that you guys like these types of videos. Also, subscribe if you haven't already, because YouTube is showing me that like 90% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. I'm doing something special when I hit 50 subscribers. We're at 46 right now. We're gonna get there eventually, guys. I believe in us. Anyway, thanks again for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time.